Gravity is not a force. Gravity is caused by the curvature of space-time. What does it mean that gravity is not a force? If you're being pulled up, there is a force that acts on you, but it's not gravity, because gravity is not a force. Because gravity is not a force. But again, it's not gravity that causes time to slow down, because gravity is not a force. Fifth, gravity is not a force.
Hi Godspeed. This channel is against the Big Bang. I discovered Big Bang is false. Many things I discovered. That the distance of the stars is smaller than you are believing. But for this to not to sound like crazy and to demonstrate to you that it is in reverse, the who maintain the Big Bang are crazy. They do not know science. I started some list. This is my first list that I take 4 videos on some guy. This is I'm saying like against Sabine Hossenfelder. I'm not against her. I do not have anything with these guys, but to prove to you that they do not know science. And guys like this are maintaining wrong science, and guys like this say that the Big Bang is true. Okay, so this is my reason, if you understood. So in this video I take the 4th video on Sabine Hossenfelder. She does not know what gravity is. I will explain to her gravity. This is the lead mistake, the main mistake that everybody does, not understanding gravity. They do not understand what Einstein did.
When I was a teenager, I was super interested in Einstein's theories of space and time, and I read a lot of popular science books about them. I didn't understand a thing. I then went on to do a PhD in physics, and today it's my turn trying to explain it to you.
But now for warm up, like science warm up, okay, let me show Sabine how she is saying that gravity 6 times in the video. You can count them. I wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 times she is saying gravity is not a force.
Gravity is not a force. Gravity is caused by the curvature of space-time. What does it mean that gravity is not a force? If you're being pulled up, there is a force that acts on you, but it's not gravity, because gravity is not a force. Because gravity is not a force. But again, it's not gravity that causes time to slow down, because gravity is not a force. Fifth, gravity is not a force.
So she's saying 6 times gravity is not a force. Gravity is a force. Force time mass acceleration. They do not understand this. Newton did not did any other formula, only this. So if Newton demonstrated somehow gravity, that it is a force, who other guy said that it is not? Who other? Because Newton, this is the only formula that he did. So, but they do not understand that this is a singular case, like an apple and many apples. You put 2 forces, 2 masses, 2 accelerations, and you take the circular case and you make the vector compounding, a circular case. It is a force like this. You see, between 2 masses, 2 accelerations, and it is a force. The wire is the force. And it hits in a circular case, has different quantities. But how this all originated? This is a long video, must listen. They do not understand, and they did not understood, like in the Newton book even, they do not read it. And I'm asking you, all of you, why do you not read the Newton book? You'll teach you on another stupid shit, bullshit science. Why do you not read the Newton books? This is the gravity, Newton book. They are geometrical cases, and you know how they are doing. Like the poem. A guy wrote a poem, a bad poem, a stupid and bad poem at the beginning of Newton book. And he praised the Newton that he did the planets. Newton. Newton only did this force equal mass time acceleration, believe it or not, and there is a singular case of this force. So you heard her that she did this, it is proving that they do not know what gravity. It is a wonder for you or not. It is a wonder for me also. 6 times she says that gravity is not a force.
Gravity is not a force. Gravity is caused by the curvature of space-time. What does it mean that gravity is not a force? If you're being pulled up, there is a force that acts on you, but it's not gravity, because gravity is not a force. Because gravity is not a force. But again, it's not gravity that causes time to slow down, because gravity is not a force. Fifth, gravity is not a force.
But Newton, that he did a force. The force he did. Who was the other guy who calculated gravity? Who? Newton did this force stuff. You put G, big G, is a G force, and it be instead of acceleration, small acceleration, because you see this force, it is, you can apply it on Earth also, like force times acceleration. You see, force times acceleration, and the bigger acceleration, the bigger force. So you must understand. I explained to you, okay, a big video, but you must understand. So Sabine does not know. You see, this is like a theorem, a corollary from the theory, from the force. A big mass with a small acceleration has a small force. I hit with the same face, but I hit slower. You understand? So the mass does not produce the force, and the force does not produce. My muscle produced them, and this is where the confusion became.
Gravity is not a force. Gravity is caused by the curvature of space-time. What does it mean that gravity is not a force? It means that if you fall in a gravitational field, you are not accelerated, because there's no force acting on you. Einstein allegedly had this insight when a man fell off a roof and reported feeling weightless. Whether that anecdote is true or not, he captured it in his thought experiment with the elevator. If you're in an elevator that falls with you in a gravitational field, you have no idea if there's gravity at all. And likewise, if the elevator is pulled up and accelerates upwards, then you can't distinguish that from being in a gravitational field. If you're being pulled up, there is a force that acts on you, but it's not gravity, because gravity is not a force. The force that acts on you is that from the floor pushing you up. Same thing with Earth's gravity. At the moment, there's no gravitational force acting on you, because gravity is not a force. There's a force acting on you from the ground, which is the reason why you are not freely falling into the center of Earth. Since there's a force acting on you, you are accelerated. Acceleration is absolute, and acceleration causes time dilation. So being near a gravitating body causes time to slow down. Again, you can actually measure this acceleration with something as simple as a spring. Bring in a spring from outer space, place it at rest with the surface of Earth, and it'll stretch. Why? Because it's accelerated.
They do not know who produced the force and what Newton calculated. You see, if you have this rotational vector like this in a circle, you see, Newton says in his book, this is the example from his book, a horse pulls on a rock and the rock pulls on the horse with the same vector. And they do not understand that this is the force. The horse pulls with a force and acceleration. And this is more important that you are believing. A force has an equal and opposite force. An equal and opposite force. And now let me show to you the escape guy that is spins. So in this way the earth spinning, there are centripetal and centrifuge forces that they are converging in the same body. And this centripetal force and centrifuge force is the acceleration. Exactly like this tissue sticks to my hand due to acceleration. Like this, you see I accelerate. And you see that the mass does not produce. If I accelerate faster, the tissue responds in equal force in opposite direction. So it'll be, the force applied to my hand will be bigger. So the scale, so the mass, it is variable, if you understand, is due to acceleration. The mass of this tissue is not exactly the same on the earth. Like you understand in an aeroplane, a guy flies an aeroplane, and the military ones, he pulls many G's due to acceleration of the aircraft. He sticks to the chair, and the chair is not attracting him. The back of the guy responds with the chair with equal forces due to acceleration of the aircraft. So in this way the mass is increased. The mass on a kilogram mass on the earth is like this. I explained to her gravity, okay? You put this in, you will understand that she says a mass. But the mass differs. Because if you hit faster, if you accelerate faster, the mass, you understand, the mass differs in the accelerated systems. Because if you want to scale the mass, you see, if you accelerate this will respond to my hand with a opposite force equal in magnitude due to mass and due to my acceleration of my hand. So if you have a scale on our hand, this rock will have a mass. But if I accelerate faster, the mass will be bigger. Okay, the mass will be bigger. Now,
but wait, I hear you say, you're at rest, so you're at a constant velocity, and acceleration is the change of velocity, so you can't possibly be accelerated. No, you're not at rest. There's no such thing at rest, not even on the symmetry. You're at rest relative to the surface of Earth, and you're accelerating at the same rate as the surface of Earth. The relative velocity is zero. Flat earthers actually have this part right. What they get wrong is that they think this acceleration is the same everywhere. But actually, the acceleration on a mountaintop is somewhat smaller than that on sea level. That's because the curvature of space is a little smaller up there. And that's because, well, the Earth is round. And since the acceleration is somewhat higher at sea level, time passes somewhat slower there than on a mountaintop. This effect has been measured to great precision in a series of experiments starting as early as the 1950s. It's one of the major predictions of Einstein's theory of general relativity. It proves that time actually slows down near gravitating bodies. And yeah, it also proves that the Earth isn't flat.
Now let me tell you, you put together this video, you'll understand why they are wrong. Everybody is wrong, okay? So I affirm that Einstein is wrong, okay? This is my opinion. Einstein is wrong, and they do not know what Einstein tried to do, okay? So let me tell you in a simple way that Einstein is wrong. You see, this is the equation of Einstein equation, E equals mc squared. Everybody knows this. But Leibniz already did kinetic energy is 1.5 mass time velocity. If you put c squared as being a velocity, the equation will look like this: energy equal mass time velocity squared. So if you combine now with Leibniz equation, kinetic energy 1.5 mass time velocity, you see you cannot have two equations, these two. So this is derived from Einstein, this is from Leibniz. You cannot have energy equal mass time velocity square because c square is the speed of light. And in the same way, the energy equal 1.5 mass time velocity. So one of them is wrong.
The distance between these 2 points seems far until you do this.
Okay, I remember this from college physics. One of our scientists, Einstein, explained this the same way. You were talking about actually folding space.
No. You wouldn't understand.
When I was a teenager, I was super interested in Einstein's theories of space and time, and I read a lot of popular science books about them. I didn't understand a thing. I then went on to do a PhD in physics, and today it's my turn trying to explain it to you.
No. You wouldn't understand.
Is that any better than those incomprehensible books I read 30 years ago? Let me know in the comments.
No. You wouldn't understand.
Beautiful. Beautiful flight. Gotta say, I love it. And then you have it, folks, the boomerang frisbee. And guess what?
This is how you spin a ball on your finger.
Okay, today I'm going to be placing a levitating globe in the vacuum chamber and seeing if it can spin forever.